Hey fellow film nerds, and welcome to my series Editor's Corner, where I break down some really impactful scenes from films across the genres from the perspective of a film editor. A little backstory on me: I've played nearly every role of filmmaking you can, from my days in film school and my years after working at a production company, but I've always found myself gravitating towards the role of editor. I think this is because editors are really the unsung heroes of the filmmaking process. While every role plays a vital part in the overall success of a film, it's the editor who chooses what you're seeing on screen at any given moment. Something about that anonymous power was just always really appealing to me. I don't know what that says about me, but I don't want to examine it too hard, so let's move on. Editing is one of the few female-dominated professions in Hollywood, dating back all the way to the silent film days, where the actual act of patching film together was seen by male directors as tedious and menial work. This meant it was given to women to do. It's also important to note that many of the most famous and prolific male directors work consistently with the same female editor. Some examples include Thelma Schoonmaker, who has worked with Martin Scorsese for over 50 years. She also had a major influence on Sally Menke, who we'll be discussing today, who has worked consistently with Quentin Tarantino up until her passing in 2010. There is also Dana Globerman, who collaborated with director Jason Reitman on 7 feature films. I've also found it really fascinating that even an okay movie can have a really great scene. And a great movie can become a classic thanks to a really impactful moment. These memorable scenes and impactful moments are in large part thanks to the editors working behind the scenes to find that comedic timing or jarring cut or emotional close-up that you remember hours and days after watching the film. The goal of the series is to not only find some really awesome scenes in films, but also pay appreciation to the silent storytellers of the film world. Today's episode, we're going to break down the opening scene to Inglourious Basterds, so let's take a look. The opening scene of this film is 20 minutes out of a 2-hour and 33-minute movie. That's a pretty long opening scene, and in and of itself is a microcosm of how to build suspense from beginning to end. When we're looking at suspense, there are 3 big factors that this scene does well that I'm going to be talking about. The first one is establishing the initial stakes. Let's take a look. When we talk about establishing the stakes, we want to look at what the characters on screen have to lose and where they are in their environment. Are there any obstacles? Who is the foe? Who is the hero? And what does each side have to lose if things don't go their way? Right off the bat, we can see where we are located, Nazi-occupied France. As we fade in, we get a wide shot of a beautiful farm in 1941. This expansive shot and this close-up on the farmer let us know that this is his property and this is something that he might have to lose. The next person we're introduced to is this young woman, who is the one to notice the oncoming threat down the road. It's not just him, it's not just his livelihood, but his family that will be on his mind as the rest of the scene takes place. These are the stakes set up for the farmer. The first clear shot we see of the antagonist is a wide shot, establishing very clearly the leader in his uniform and his 3 backup. Take note that the antagonist group with 1 leader and 3 backup mirrors the protagonist group with 1 farmer and 3 daughters. By immediately seeing the antagonist role as the leader, we know that what he has to lose is his reputation and his role as leader of his group. Those are his stakes.
C'est un plaisir de vous rencontrer, Monsieur Lapadite. Je suis le colonel SS Hans Landa.
The next great suspense-building factor of this scene is the withholding of information from the audience. Perhaps one of the most famous and known directors of suspense building, Alfred Hitchcock, simplified the definition of cinematic suspense, saying, "Mystery is when the spectator knows less than the characters in the movie. Suspense is when the spectator knows more than the characters in the movie." Letting the audience know certain information at different times exemplifies one of the most famous theories of suspense in filmmaking, which is the bomb theory, coined by Hitchcock. This is his analogy for the distinction between surprise and suspense.
4 people are sitting around a table, 5 minutes of it, very dull. Suddenly, a bomb goes off, blows the people to smithereens. What do the audience have? 10 seconds of shock. Now take the same scene and tell the audience there is a bomb under that table and will go off in 5 minutes. Well, the whole emotion of the audience is totally different because you've given them that information.
With this in mind, let's take a look at this scene and break down who knows what at any given moment, from the audience to the characters on screen. The moment that the characters walk into the house, the people that we know present are Hans, his 3 men outside, the 3 daughters, and the farmer. At around 4.5 minutes after having a rather cordial glass of milk, Hans asks the farmer to tell his daughters to please go outside. After the daughters have stepped outside, Hans admits that his French is bad and would like to switch to English, even though up until this point there has been no indication that he can't speak French fluently. He asks within his house to switch to English so that he may converse more adequately.
Are you aware of my existence?
Yes.
This is good. Are you aware of the job I've been ordered to carry out in France?
Yes.
At this point, the audience is led on about how much each character knows about the other.
That the Führer has put you in charge of rounding up the Jews left in France, who are either hiding or passing for Gentile.
We now know that the farmer not only knows who Hans is, but knows his reputation, and the fact that he has already had his house inspected for hiding Jews. He has already been accused of this before.
The Germans looked through my house 9 months ago for hiding Jews and found nothing.
And Hans seemingly wants to just clear up a few clerical issues, not necessarily a major threat.
According to these papers, all the Jewish families in this area have been accounted for, except the Dreyfuses.
We then hear the farmer tell the rumor that the Dreyfuses have moved to Spain. Note that we don't see Hans's reaction to this statement.
We heard the Dreyfuses had made their way into Spain.
Instead, we hang on the farmer slowly lighting his pipe, taking back some control of the situation and easing into a certain amount of relaxation. We then have a long rotating shot where the farmer begins listing the members of the family. Because the scene hangs rather than cuts as the farmer lists off the names and ages of this family, we are allowed to see and feel the hesitation from the farmer. It's unclear how close he actually was to this family.
And the children Amos and Shoshana.
However, it's at this point in the scene, almost exactly halfway through at 10 minutes and 36 seconds, that we have a long pan-down shot from the farmer listing off this information to Hans to what is happening below the floorboards. This introduces new stakes and gives the audience more information. Now we know the farmer is lying, the family is present, but potentially unsure of what is being said due to the language change a few minutes previous. What we are left not knowing at this point is how much Hans knows. As mentioned previously, at this point we have to look at what is at stake. Not only does the farmer have his daughters and his properties at stake, but this family that he has helped hide. What's so important about this reveal halfway through the scene is everything that comes after is now knowing that the family is hiding right beneath their feet.
As opposed to most German soldiers, I can think like a Jew. Now, if one were to determine what attribute the German people share with a beast, it would be the cunning and the predatory instinct of a hawk. But if one were to determine what attributes the Jews share with the beast, it would be that of the rat.
The farmer, like the audience, is listening to Hans, clearly wondering what is to come of this conversation. What is the point? What is the meaning? We listen to him tell his rat analogy.
If a rat were to scamper through your front door right now, would you greet it with hostility?
I suppose I would.
Has a rat ever done anything to you to create this animosity you feel toward him?
Rats spread disease.
I propose to you, any disease a rat could spread, a squirrel could equally carry. Would you agree?
Right.
Yet I assume you don't share the same animosity with squirrels that you do with rats, do you?
No.
Yet they're both rodents, are they not? And except for the tail, they even rather look alike, don't they? You don't like them. You don't really know why you don't like them. All you know is you find them repulsive.
Well, at first glance, this story could be seen as simply a tool to show Hans's prejudice and hatred towards the Jewish people. By keeping coverage on Hans as he tells this analogy, more weight is given to the story, not because he is telling some type of truth, but because he is letting not only the farmer, but the audience know just how much he knows.
Consequently, a German soldier conducts a search of a house suspected of hiding Jews. Where does the hawk look? He looks in the barn, he looks in the attic, he looks in the cellar, he looks everywhere he would hide. But there's so many places it would never occur to a hawk to hide. However, the reason the Führers brought me off my Alps in Austria and placed me in French cow country today is because it does occur to me.
At the 15-minute mark, we switch sides of the table, Hans now taking up more of the screen. This cut at this moment also signifies to the audience that Hans knows more than he's let on. It's at this point that he lets on he is willing and prepared to do a full search, and he knows full well that he will find irregularities. We get a jarring cut to full close-up coverage of Hans for the first time in the scene. It begins to slowly push in on his expression. We then cut to full close-up coverage of the farmer as Hans off-screen reminds him of the stakes, saying the army will no longer bother your family. When we cut back to the slow zoom of Hans, his facial expression has changed. He lets on that he knows the farmer is sheltering Jews.
You're sheltering enemies of the state, are you not?
Another quick cut to the farmer shows he realizes Hans knows everything, and he tells him with defeat a small yes. Another quick cut to Hans reveals he knows exactly where their location is, under the floorboards. Another quick cut to the farmer's tearful response of yes. When it cuts back to Hans, we are at an extreme close-up where he instructs him to tell him exactly where they are. At 17 minutes in, their location has now been revealed to Hans. Hans confirms that they don't speak English, revealing why he actually changed languages at the beginning.
Since I haven't heard any disturbance, I assume while they're listening they don't speak English.
At this point, the audience realizes just how much Hans has known from the very beginning. Not only where they were located, where they were hiding, but also what language they spoke in order to deceive them even more.
I'm going to switch back to French now, and I want you to follow my masquerade set clear.
He then switches back to French and invites the ladies back in, who are actually his SS soldiers getting into place, revealing why he actually asked the ladies to leave in the very beginning. Once again, the mirroring of the three backup officers with the three daughters shows that Hans might have known from the very beginning that the farmer had three daughters, and this was his plan all along. At this point, everyone in the scene, including the audience, seems to know everything. The only people unaware of exactly what is happening are the Dreyfuses hiding underneath the floorboards. This is where the music starts to build as the realization becomes clear for both the farmer and the audience. He knows what is about to happen, but the Dreyfuses don't, meaning they don't have an opportunity to escape. We watch the climax happen from the perspective of Hans, the backup officers, and the farmer. They unleash a barrage of bullets into the floorboards, seemingly killing the entire family underneath. However, Hans hears something. The camera cuts to one young girl escaping and running away. We hang on a clip of her running away into the field. There is then close-up coverage of Hans as he aims his gun at her. We then see another close-up coverage of the girl running away. He is about to shoot, but he doesn't. The music cuts when Hans decides not to shoot, and it seems like the girl has gotten away, for good. However, Hans reveals one more piece of information. He knows who she is.
Au revoir, Shoshana!
As we moved through the scene, the audience is given more information, as well as the characters. By shifting just how much anybody knows at any given time, suspense is built. The last important factor to note and what made this scene such a masterclass in suspense was the editor's ability to cut to match energy. The opening shots hang on the farmer and his expression, his preparation, watching the brigade approach, allowing the audience to feel the same apprehension as the farmer. Similarly to Hans's somewhat calming demeanor, the first 3/4 of the opening scene holds relatively long on cuts, particularly when Hans is speaking. Hans is given milk, drinks, and compliments all in one take. Hans takes out his books and ink, slowly, all in one take. Hans tells the rat analogy nearly all in one take. The farmer's coverage is a bit more sporadic. Every time he tells a lie, there tends to be a cut.
We heard the Dreyfuses. had made their way into Spain.
This matches his more nervous energy in the situation. Even the reveal of the Dreyfuses hiding is a slow pan down rather than a quick cut, giving time for the audience to slowly take in the information, tension, and stakes of the scene. By the time the climax occurs, the audience knows doom is looming. The cuts become quicker as information is revealed, matching a heart beating faster, making the real-time realization of the farmer and the audience becoming clear at the same time. By having long shots at the very beginning that maintain side profiles of each character, the quick, close-up cuts at the very end are all that much more effective. You always want to cut with purpose, and that's exactly what this scene does so well. On editing, Sally Menke was once quoted saying, "It's all about tension, so you follow the emotional arc of a character through a scene, even if, as in the opening of Inglourious Basterds, they're just pouring a glass of milk or stuffing their pipe." She said, "We're very proud of that scene. It might be the best thing we've ever done." She said editing was all emotional, impulsive, instinctual. Just follow the character's emotions. And that was the opening to Inglourious Basterds. In my opinion, the best Tarantino film. I know Pulp Fiction fans are out there wanting my head for saying that, but this is my series and this is my head, so. This film was also the last film that Menke and Tarantino collaborated on because she passed away in 2010. Even though Tarantino went on to make more films after her passing, none of them quite had the same spark, in my opinion, to the films that they worked on together. And I think that's not only a testament to the unbelievably unique collaboration that they had, but also the unbelievable talent of Sally Menke as a film editor. I also wanted to end each one of these episodes with one of my personal favorite comfort movie flicks. That would be any movie that I decide to watch after I just spent 2 hours scrolling on Netflix and I'm like, you know what, I just want to watch something that I know. Today's comfort movie pick is Pleasantville, featuring a baby Reese Witherspoon and baby Tobey Maguire. This is a really underrated film with a really touching story as well as an unbelievably cool aesthetic. Check it out if you haven't already, or give it a rewatch if it's been a while. If you like what you saw here today, like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more upcoming episodes coming your way. And now, in commemoration of Sally Menke and her unbelievable work, I'd like to leave you with a few more clips of the cast and crew of Inglourious Basterds shouting her out. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.
Say hi, Sally. Hi, Sally.
Bonjour, Sally. Hello, Sally.
How old is Bob?
I think Sally's went there. Hi, Sally.
Fucky fuck. So close. Hello, Sally. So close.
Hi, Sally. 32 Fennec. Take one. Hi, Sally.